It's paper crafting day here at Jolly in July, and today I'm going to show you how to make these adorable gift tags that are made using a cutting machine like a Cricut or a Silhouette. But have no fear. You can also download PDF files that will allow you to just print and cut with scissors or an X-Acto knife if you want to do the little cutout part. But if you have a cutting machine, it makes it easy peasy. And I'm going to show you how. And you'll want to be sure to stick around to see how you can turn those gift tags into a fun little shaker tag with confetti in between. Let's get started. I've started a new project in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go ahead and upload the SVGs that are the tags. So I'm just going over here to the upload button. I'm going to upload an image and browse, and I'm going to go ahead and load in the plain gift tags. So I'm selecting those. We'll just continue. Since these are an SVG, there's nothing that I need to do. So let's go ahead and upload. And it has brought it into my project. Let's go ahead and also upload the tags that have the little cutouts. So I'm going to, again, go to the upload image, browse, choose the cutouts SVG, open that up. There we go. Continue with that. Again, there's nothing that I need to do because it's an SVG file. It's made for cutting. We'll upload that. And all I have to do is move that over. And as you can see, that is also all grouped together, all 12 tags. And just for ease of use, I grouped 12 tags together so that they would fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock or paper or whatever you are cutting out. And now we can decide what we want to do. So when I was preparing samples for this tutorial, I just cut I cut 8 tags that had cutouts, and I cut 4 that were plain out of each color that I was doing, just kind of for fun. And then I could layer them and do all sorts of fun things, which I'll show you after we've cut some out. If you want to sort of create your own layout of tags that you're going to cut, then you could certainly do that. You can ungroup either of these 2 items. And again, you can just select it and then come over here to the ungroup, and that will make them all be individual. And you can rearrange them. If you wanted all trees, you could duplicate and have a whole sheet full of tags that are for trees. That is totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and cut out some just plain ones. So I'm going to group those back together, and I am going to hide those for the moment. So let's just go ahead and cut some plain ones. The ones with the cutout work exactly the same way. They just take a little bit longer to cut because, of course, they have to cut the cutouts. I'm going to use a fun patterned paper to cut out some plain tags. So let's go over to the Cricut machine and get that started. So we're over at the Cricut machine now, and I have the tags that I've cut out previously already laid out. And of course, with the cutouts, you get the little part that is cut out of the tag, and those are useful too. So I usually just pile those up and save those for adding to more decorations. I have a patterned sheet of paper. It's patterned on one side and just plain white on the other. I think it came out of one of those pads of scrapbook paper. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my Cricut mat. I am using my light grip because it actually has more grip than my medium grip currently. I need to clean those mats. And in my Cricut Design Space, I have that set of just plain tags. I can fit 3 more tags onto a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and since these are not attached, I just have them laid out in a nice little grid there. If I want them cut just like that, I can select all 12 of them and hit attach. That will attach them. Cricut will interpret that unit as one complete cut. Even though they're cut individually, it will keep them together like that. So let's hit make. I have 12 by 12 selected. All right, I'm going to select medium cardstock. Put a little extra pressure on this. Probably need to change my blade. And we're ready to cut. All right, we're all done cutting. I always like to just double check that the cut went through before I remove it from the machine. Pull off the excess paper. And then if you fold your mat, these will easily pop off. Then I just have to knock off all the little circles. I can put the next sheet of cardstock on. Now that we have the tags cut out, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can put them together, layer them. We're even going to make a little shaker tag. What kind of supplies do you need? Paper scissors are handy. I'm going to use some foam tape for the shaker tag and also a small piece of, well, this is nearly impossible to see, but it is a piece of transparency sheet. For the shaker tag, I also have some tiny little star shapes. So you could obviously use whatever kind of confetti or glitter that you want if you're going to do the shaker tag. Otherwise, for layering the plain tags, just some paper glue. I am using tacky glue, Scotch tacky glue. And of course, some decorative ribbon or twine to make a little tie for your tag. So let's start with the simplest first, which is, of course, not doing anything and just using the tags as is. So I like to keep a supply of these on hand because, of course, I never can find a tag and end up just writing on the package in Sharpie. That's so sad. So now I'm going to have a selection of tags, and I'll probably cut myself some more plain ones out of some other fancy papers so I have them for other holidays and birthdays. So of course you can use a plain tag, whether it be on printed paper or a colored cardstock. That all works fine. This is a cardstock as well. So that's one way. You can use the ones with the cutouts and just have that on your package. That works as well. The other thing, of course, that you can do is to put 2 tags together to layer them. So a couple of things. You can take a plain tag and a cutout tag and put those together. And I could just glue around the edges and press. And it just dawned on me that I bet I can take the white cutout candy cane as well. Flip it over so that I have this candy cane on one side and that candy cane on the other. Oh, how cute is that? Let's glue these 2 together. So I'm just going to take a fine line of glue here. Can leave a little space up at the tag area. And I'm not going to put a whole lot of glue around the cutout because the glue is likely to spread just a little. So I'll put a tiny bit in the corner there. If you have a more precise tip on your glue, that works as well. You do not need a lot of glue. All right, and then I am just going to line up the bottom of the tag. Give that a light press. This glue doesn't take very long to set. And if you have any excess, just wipe it off on the sides. It does dry clear, so you do not have to worry. So that, of course, is one way. How cute is that? Double tag. You can, of course, just use a, as I said before, a plain tag and layer it with a cutout. Make all sorts of fun, fancy things. And you can use a plain tag that has pattern paper and put that behind your cutout. A little bit of interesting pattern poking through the cutout. So that's a super fun one as well. Then, if you'll remember, of course, I saved all the little cutouts from the tags. You can layer them onto a plain tag. Kind of make your own little scene and just glue those down. You can also have a cutout tag and then add additional pieces onto it as well. But probably the most exciting way to layer the tag is to make the shaker tag. That's just so fun. So let me show you how easy it is to make one of those. You will need a solid tag for the back. And then I'm going to use a star cutout. And of course, having cut these from solid cardstock, I could decide that I want the star over on the left side or the right side, either way. I guess I'm just going to do the same as that one. So we need to prepare the back side of the cutout piece. And that is the piece that's going to have the transparency. So that has to be adhered right to the back of the cutout tag. Now you can use glue and just dab where that is, lay the transparency over. That's what I did for this one. But if you're afraid that the glue is going to seep and come across essentially fogging up the transparency, put that where I can find it, then you can use a double-sided tape. So I have a little bit of red line tape, and it's super, super sticky. So I'm going to make sure that I'm positioning this where it isn't going to be showing through there. I think I'm going to trim it down in half. It's super sticky. Once it sticks to the paper, that you're not getting it back up. So you want to be ready. Also, I can stick that to my mat, which I'm using to protect my cutting mat from my quilting thing. This is a great silicone mat that just helps protect your surface, and then any liquid that would get on it, like glue and stuff, just wipes off really easily. All right, so I'm going to just put this along the top of that. Let me put it out here where you can see it. Right along there. Cut another piece to fit in between. I think I better peel off these backing before I put them. There we go. Sometimes the backing is a little stubborn to get off, but not so bad today. Did I mention it sticks to everything? And the little backing paper is super staticky. I'm speeding up the process of trying to take that backing off of these little tiny strips. Those first two came off so easily, and they don't usually. This is the norm. But there's lots of other double stick products out there that will work just fine and are perhaps a little less frustrating. And again, you can use glue. You just want to be very sparing with it so that it doesn't seep across the transparency. Okay, finally. Whew. All right, I'm going to press that down really well. It will not come back up, trust me. All right, now we're going to need the foam tape, and this is just Scotch brand. Again, there are other brands out there, and the first thing that I like to do is tape off the hole. So you don't want any little confetti or glitter escaping through the hole, and you need the hole open on both sections of tag. So I'm going to cut a very skinny piece. This is about 1/3. I had already cut a piece off for the sample tag there. That's not even skinny enough. This one might be a little skinnier. Perfect. And it can go right up to the edge. Matter of fact, you want it to go to the edge. So I'm just going to use, well, I'm going to cut this piece in half and just put that right next to the hole and butt it up against that piece I have at the top. Do the same on this side. And then I'm just going to cut off a little piece. And this does not have to be a perfect little square or hole or anything. And I'm just going to kind of press that in there. You just need it to not allow any glitter or confetti to be able to get to that whole area. Okay, perfect. Now we need to continue all the way around the rest of the tag. So I find it easier to cut a length that is going to work for the side. And of course we need to keep this side very skinny because it's close to the cutout. So I'm going to cut a nice skinny piece. Set that aside. And I've just lined it up as close to the edge as I can get. Press that down really well. I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece again. It just gives more room for the confetti or glitter to move around, but I certainly could use this full width if I wanted to on this side. And again, pressing down really well. Then this one turned out pretty nice and skinny too, so I'm going to put that along the bottom. Whew, just makes it. And trim off the excess. There we go. Now I still need to get into these parts here. And yes, you could probably go like that. It does leave this area open from the side, and I prefer to have it going around as close as possible. So I am going to, again, I kind of laid that on the edge and then give that a little snip at an angle and then kind of press it down in there. And I'll do the same over here. I'm going to just press it in. Give it a little snip. That's fine. And if you find that you have any gaps, you could just, you know, fill in with a little piece of tape there. So I don't really have any use for that, so I'm just going to put it right there. All right. Make sure everything is pressed down really well. And then these backings come off so much easier than the red line tape. I love the red line tape. It just holds so well, but whew, those backing papers. All right, now before we put the back on, we need to put the confetti in. So I am just going to sprinkle, and then any bits that land on a piece of sticky there, I'm going to remove those. Oops, this is a whole stack of them. Let's break that apart. And of course, they will fly all over the place. There we go. You don't want to fill it too full. There has to be room for them to move around. And this tape is fairly thin. So essentially no more than one layer of confetti so that it has room to move and shake. You could do a double layer or use a thicker foam tape. That is fine too. This is what I had, so this is what I'm going to use. All right, then to line this up, I just align the bottom there. This tape is a little more forgiving, certainly more forgiving than the red line, so I have the opportunity to kind of reposition if I need to. And then once I'm satisfied, I'm going to press all around the edges. That's where the tape is, and all around where the hole is. And flip it over. And there is my shaker tag. We're going to finish off our gift tags by adding a little ribbon or yarn loop at the top. And that way we can attach it to the package or gift quite easily. You can use a variety of items for the loop, anything from ribbon. I have both printed ribbons and fancier ribbons, but a plain ribbon works just fine. And of course, yarn is an excellent standby to use, or twine or string, just anything that is pliable enough that you can use to tie a simple little knot. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a length of ribbon. And I just poke it through the hole here. Now I have cut my length more than twice of what I want the finished loop to be, especially with this thicker ribbon. Some of the finer, smaller ribbons create a tighter little knot, but this slightly thicker and wider ribbon, the knot is quite large. So then with both sides folded, I'm just going to wrap it around, poke that through those little ends. Give it a good snug tug to make that knot nice and snug there. And there you go. And of course you can pull the ribbon so that the knot is at the back. And you have your adorable gift tag. I hope you enjoyed today's Paper Crafting Jolly in July episode. Be sure to join Lauren tomorrow over at Garden Girl Studio, where she is going to do some embroidery using the stick and stitch technique. I'll be back on Friday with another tag project, but this one is a wooden ornament. I'll see you then. Bye.